Welcome back to the Train Schedule app tutorial series. Today, we'll start adding the logic to each UI element and make them functional. We will generate the real-time departure information in the departure board. For those of you who missed the UI import part, click the link on top right to watch the first video first. For this tutorial, we'll use the API named Swiss Public Transport API. It's free, so don't worry about being charged. If you click the documentation button, you can find all information about this API and how to use it. Okay, let's pull the departure information first from the API. In documentation, click on Station Board. With this data, you'll be able to retrieve data of upcoming connections departing at a specific location. Scroll a little bit below and you can find the URL named Example Request. Let's copy this URL. If you see this URL carefully, you'll notice a couple of things. First, with this URL, you can pull connections departing from a place named Auto, and it pulls up the 10 upcoming connections at a time. By changing this text string, you can modify the departure location and the max number of connections. Okay, let's go back to Breadboard. By the way, I deleted the list UI instances that we added before. As I explained in the previous video, we don't need them to put them like a UI design mocks, because we're going to generate them with the API. Click on the departure board UI and add trigger. Because we want to generate the connection information upon opening the app, add the onStart trigger. And then search for the fetch block. In fetch, paste the URL you copied from the Swiss Public Transport API. By the way, make sure to change HTTP to HTTPS, otherwise the data won't be pulled properly. So this tutorial, we're going to change the departure point as Zurich. So we're gonna change it. You don't have to change the method. It should be set as get. Next, let's add another block named get. With this command, you can screen values you want to get from the fetch data. Select value for what we want to get. And because we only need data from station board section, write station board as a key. Since we refer to the previous fetch result, let's leave result of fetch as is. If you mouse over the tag, you can see the matching fetch block highlighted. Here's a small tip. You can add a comment to remember what these blocks are about. So I'll group these two blocks and name them Fetch Swiss Public Transit API. And then let's repeat the UI element. Tap on Add Action and select Repeat for each. I'll use the variable named train to refer to each item during the loop. This command iterates over the values in value from dictionary, which was station board. So let's choose a value from dictionary. Now, let's add the logic related to the UI generation. First, let's add create element and select the master component you made it in the previous video. You'll need to rename it so you can refer to it for the next logic blocks. I'll name it train departure item. If you want to make sure that your repeat logic is working, simply add the append command to add the instance to the container and run a preview. Well, let's see if it works. The previously created element is now labeled as result to make automatically. So let's label it like that. And since we already attached the logic to the target container, you can append it to me. Well, let's see if it works. Yeah, it's working really well, and it's repeating, but we haven't attached the real data yet, so the default placeholder text are repeating. Let's replace them with the real data. Before moving on to the next step, I will add a comment to remember what these blocks are about. I will label them as repeat and generate transport schedule instances. By the way, this is completely optional, so you can skip it if you want. We're going to add a series of change logic blocks and update all the text information and the transportation icon according to the data. For changing the text icon, we'll make the logic separately, so I will start from the transport number. Add change and select result to make, and then select attribute, transport schedule, and transport number. Okay, let's go back to the API documentation. If you scroll down the example data, you can see the category and the number. We'll combine this data to show the number of each connection. To combine two different text strings, add a logic block named combine text right above change. Type train the category. Whoops, I should have changed the input type as expression. I will reselect it and type it again. So when you refer to the API data, always choose expression. Always. And here I will type train.number. And then hit backspace to empty the width value to prevent the space between them. Let's come back to the change block. Since the relationship between the change block and the previous create element is now broken, we should type the name of the element from now on. Let's copy and paste train departure item from the previous create element block and replace next text with combine text. To make it easier to understand, I will add a comment labeled transportation number. And then let's add the easier one first. I will update the destination information. Add another change. Copy and paste the element name train departure item and select destination from the attribute. And then make sure to change the input type as expression first. And then let's check the API documentation and see how the destination data is labeled. Okay, found it. So it's labeled as 2. Okay, come back to Breadboard and write train.to. And then that's it for the destination. So let's add the comment. Okie dokie, let's update the departure time. Add another change. Copy paste the element name. Select departure time from the attribute. Let's check the API documentation again to check the format of the data. Okay, so the data we need is labeled as stop.departure and is printed as a very long text string. However, we just want to print it as HH and MM. So in this case, we need to trim the text strings, so we will use the slice block. Let's add slice and type train.stop.departure as expression. And then we need to count from which letter to which letter you want to trim. Let's count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we know 11, and then 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So to get the HHMM time format, we need to slice from the 11th to the 16th letter. Okay, and then refer to this slice text in change. And we finally add comment as departure time. Now, we will update the remaining data with more complex logic. Let's work on the delay first. As you can see in the master component, we have a specific form of delay, but if you check the real API data, it will make it easier to read. And as you can see, it only shows the delay information by the number of minutes only. So we need to process a bit to make it look properly. And we want to hide the red label when the train is coming on time. So all in all, we need to use the condition logic and the text combination to print the data properly. Add the if block and make the condition as if train.stop.delay is greater than 0. And then add combine text block to combine plus and the expression train.stop.delay. Make sure that the plus is text and train.stop.delay is the data from the API. And hit the backspace in the last section to prevent from making a space in between. And then add another combine text to combine the previous block with MIN. This should be the text. And then add the change block and enter the component name. Select delay from the attribute. And then select combine text. Let's add the else statement. You can find else and else if blocks from the vertical dot menu on the right side of if. Paste the name of the instance, select delay, and hit the backspace to make the text empty. Okay, let's run the preview and see if the data is pulled properly. Yes, it's now reflecting the real connection data. Well, I guess there's no delayed ones right now. Swiss trains are known for punctuality. Okay, let's go back to the normal mode and continue. I'll add a comment to this logic series as delay if condition. And let's move forward. Let's add logic to the transportation type variants. So if the upcoming connection is a bus or a tram, we use the different variant. Again, we need an if condition to update the variant type. Remember we pulled the transportation type data from train.category to update the transportation number string? We'll use the same expression here. Let's quickly look through the API to check how the category is stored. If you scroll down, you can find the category marked B for bus and T for tram. Anything else are all trains. So with this information, we'll make the condition as follows. If the train category is marked as B, change the variant to bus. Else if the train category is marked as T, change the variant to tram. Oh, sorry, I just found a typo. I will change the new bus to just bus. And input tram here. Okie doke. Else, change the variant to train. Okay, so all set. So I will add a comment for this if series as transportation type. Okay, let's run the preview once again to make sure everything is working well. Now, most of the trains have delays for now, and I can only see the train connections as of now, but seems like everything is now generating properly, which is great. Alright, so that's all for today's tutorial. In the next video, we'll add the search functionality so we can change the departure and the destination point to make updates on the connections. If you get stuck while following this tutorial or have any questions or comments, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.